Hey guys, welcome to this episode of The Passionate Few. It's your host, Omar here, and today we're going to be talking about Podcasting 101, and I'm going to zoom in on the one question, and that is, how can you scale your business by scaling your brand? And what's the number one fastest way to do it? And why I also think traditional personal branding is Enjoy.
Representing the Passionate Few podcast, Omar, the podcast Rockstar, Elattar.
Omar, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, obvious you're doing good for others as well, brother.
All right, guys, so today I'm going to talk to you about why I think traditional personal branding is and how I'm saying this because I've worked with entrepreneurs to the tunes of over $10 billion worth of them, from thought leaders, experts, entrepreneurs who built their brand by getting millions of views cumulatively on my show. And I'm coming to you from a humble place, not as like a higher up, but as an equal who was curious about this stuff, because I realized, a lot of people hear the word podcasting or YouTube or these other social media things, and maybe you're a professional, right? Maybe you're killing it in what you do. Maybe you're starting a product or a service, or you have a social media platform you're trying to grow and kind of figure out how to navigate the landscape of, because you realize that's the future of online business. But the question stands is, how do you fit into podcasting? Why do you fit into podcasting? How could it work for you, right? So these are some of the questions that we get plagued by. And so today I'm going to deep dive. So with no further ado, that preface in mind, here we go. Why I think traditional personal branding is because most people are starting from zero. And I read a great book lately called Turning Pro. And in the book, the author talks about this notion throughout the book about the difference between how an amateur would handle something and how a pro would handle something. So for example, in the book, it gives parallels of scenarios, and on a linear sheet here, one side would say, for example, amateur, one situation would be pro. And in the amateur situation, something would be posed and it would talk about how an amateur would handle that challenge. On the other side, it would be how a pro would handle that challenge. Now, what's most interesting is they found out that the number one difference between the efficiency of the amateur and the pro was the pro's ability to sustainably have a decision made that permanently doesn't have to be reversed. An amateur tries to solve a problem every time it pops up, right? They put a Band-Aid on a wound. Pros know how to automate it so that something can build. And once you build things upon each other, that's when you can build really good momentum, okay? So keep that in mind, right? You're thinking about long-term sustainability between how an amateur or pro would do things. One last point before I get into this, both can be successful. The question is how successful. And so in the parallel here is when you're starting a brand from zero, I like to think that traditional personal branding is really done how amateurs do it, because amateurs start from zero. And I know because I was one of them and it took me forever, right? And so for me, one thing I saw is like, okay, Tony Robbins talks about this notion, success leaves clues. And so when we look at some of the most successful people who built their personal brands, how did they build it? Let's take, for example, 5 entrepreneurs off the top. Let's say Steve Jobs, Mark Cuban, Zuckerberg, right? Let's say Gary Vee, let's say Oprah, let's say Sarah Blakely, right? Billionaire founder of Spanx, right? Whoever it is, and maybe in your own life, right? In your own experience of getting to know different entrepreneurs and seeing people who built their brands, you're looking at the clues that some of the successful have left, and you realize, if I ask you, hey, when you think of Gary Vee talking, when you think of Steve Jobs talking, when you think of Mark Cuban talking, when you think of Mark Zuckerberg talking, or maybe your favorite entrepreneur, I would bet you that it's probably through the lens of an interview. I don't think Mark Cuban was paying a PR agency. I don't think any of these other companies, although they may have, were trying to somehow build hype around something other than their personality that wasn't successful. When you look at things that go viral online, whether they're mini clips or repurposed content, usually they get on other people's platforms, right? They leverage attention more intelligently. What do I mean by this? So whereas the amateur will start from zero, a pro will start with heroes. And heroes, as defined in the podcasting and YouTube context of you potentially being interviewed, is essentially starting from people who have their own platforms. For example, take this one, right? At the time of you watching this video, you could say, you know what, man, I'm fired up. I'm excited about that. That sounds cool. I want to be a pro. I want to build my brand like a pro, right? I want to leverage the attention of others. I want to leverage audiences and platforms. I mean, think about it in terms of Hollywood, right? When Hollywood actors or actresses or filmmakers are promoting a movie, they usually go on a bunch of different interview tours. When they go on interview tours, are they starting their own YouTube channel? Are they starting their own platform just to promote the movie? No, they're getting on pre-existing platforms. And when you can create pre-existing platforms over the course of your career, right, over the course of your social media career, if you're going to sell products online, that's going to be there whether you like it or not. You want to start laying that foundation. You want to start thinking long term. And so an amateur would start from zero, right? What would they do? They'd take out their phone. They'd take maybe 10 minutes to film a 1-minute video or an hour to film a 1-minute video. And now that 1 hour is a 1-minute video. They post it on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and that lasts for 24 to 48 hours and it's done. But imagine an interview where you can be interviewed, for example, let's say 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour. Think about all of those viewers. Think about all of those potential customers that would allow you to grow your brand like a pro. Think of the fact that those listeners are people just like you. In fact, if you're watching the show, how did you get to find out about me? My interviews. Not after 1, not after 2, not after 3, maybe after 10 or 11, right? Or whatever that number is that starts getting that momentum. I personally think 10 is that number that'll kickstart you to the next level. Anything beyond that's icing on the cake. But as you build, and as you build a timeline of these things, here's the other cool part. Say this interview was 30 minutes, say this interview was 45 minutes, and say this interview was an hour. Think of the ROI of an already existing platform that you're on, right? So instead of starting down here, you're starting on an elevated platform. And now for that 30, 45 minutes or 1 hour, that could turn into how many repurposed pieces of content? In that 30 minutes, you got 30 minutes of content versus that 30 minutes or an hour that got you 1 minute of content. And again, this 30, 45, 1 hour is you being able to talk about your products, your service, your business, attract your tribe, attract people to whatever it is that you have to offer, whatever it is you're excited about, whatever it is that you're launching, and it lives forever. Podcasts and YouTube videos last a long time. The platform recommends stuff from 10 years ago, 10 months ago, 10 weeks ago, 10 days ago, 10 hours ago. You already know this stuff. I'm sure if you take out your YouTube app today and looked at it, you'd see stuff that was literally 10 weeks old, 10 hours old, 10 minutes old. It's an equal opportunity employer with content. These other platforms are not. And so whether it's YouTube or podcasting, it's the same. Imagine doing this 30, 45, an hour. Imagine getting on up to 10 platforms, 10 hours of content that tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, depending on your level of ability to deliver in those interviews, could provide. And if you're given that value, could you think of the ROI on that time? Think about how much time you would save trying to start something from scratch. How many times have you maybe watching this thought, man, I really want to get good at social media. I got to learn this Facebook ad game, but maybe they shut down your ad accounts. And maybe that's happened over and over again. And you're seeing everybody else going, well, it's okay, I'll figure it out. And the reality is, think of the biggest brands in the world. I don't see Kanye West running ads. I don't see movie stars running ads. What are they doing? They're doing interviews. Why? Because they're pros. They understand the power of investing time, energy, resources, and whatever it takes to build out stuff. But here's the thing. You got to believe in your product. If you don't believe in your product, you don't believe in your service, you're going to get tested if you get on these platforms. If you go on and talk for 30, 45 minutes to an hour, you really got to be delivering value. But if you know you have that value, if you know that you can actually deliver results to people, if you know that your product or your service or your group coaching program, and I don't know what industry you're in, maybe you're in real estate, right? Maybe you're in insurance, maybe you're in the online marketing space, maybe you're an author, an expert, a coach, a consultant, a trainer. You know, some of our clients are literally from all walks of life, from all over the world. And while we have wait lists for a lot of these clients, a lot of them tell us the same thing, that there's no better way to build a brand. It's funny, last week I had one of my clients tell me that when she was going through the airport, she was blown away because somebody who listened to the podcast has actually heard of her and recognized her. Imagine the gratification that feels. I mean, forget about the money and clients, all that stuff's a byproduct. But think about the long run of building your brand through interviews. Plus, think about some other supplementary benefits. I'll give you 4 quick ones right now. Number 1, once you get on podcasts, you're going to get more and more requests for podcasts. So now that 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour wasn't just wasted time of you trying to film a selfie video on your own social media. Maybe you tried this before and nothing worked. Instead, you're on a platform that already has leverage, right? You're in something that's already in the air. And so when you're selling from a leveraged position, that's how you create impact. That's how in our business, we've created up to 6-figure months and beyond. And we did this all through interviews. We're talking about organic traffic. We're talking about not spending a penny, not dealing with Facebook ad accounts that get shut down, not dealing with confusing VAs, not dealing with fake followers and buying followers. And if you want to do all that, fine, no judgment to that. You got to do what you got to do. But the reality is, the question is, do you want to be an amateur when building your brand, or do you want to be a pro? Amateurs pay a small price and worry about it. Pros are all in, and as a result, they get everything. I'll give you one quick example. It's a funny story. Obviously, a lot of people know about Michael Phelps, and I heard, I believe Tony Robbins talks about this story. Michael Phelps, one of the most decorated Olympians of all time, known as the swimmer extraordinaire. Second place to him was short by, I believe, 1/100th of a second, right? This is arguably the second fastest swimmer on planet Earth competitively, right? 1/100th of a second between him and Michael Phelps. What happened to Michael Phelps? He was on the cover of every magazine. Some of the biggest endorsements ever, became the face of the Olympics, the face of America, cover of all these magazines. Does anybody know who second place was to Michael Phelps that year in the Olympics? No. The reason, this guy was, think about it, the second fastest swimmer on Earth by 1/100th of a second. 1/100th of a second was the difference between an amateur and a pro. Somebody being all in versus thinking about the short-term benefit, right? Somebody that really goes that extra mile. And so I really want to encourage you to really think about how this could apply to you, your life, your business, whatever industry you're in. If you want to build your brand and you want to not do it the traditional bullshit way of starting from scratch, trying to get any little follower to join you and trying to get a little momentum, that's fine, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that, but you got to remember there's different levels to execution. And if you want to maximize your ROI, one thing I like to tell people is that you can't control the cards you're dealt, only how you play the hand, right? You can't control the outcomes. All you can do is maximize the odds. And so while we all know money's cyclical, it comes back over and over again, right? The money will get spent. The question is who you'll be when the money comes back. Where will your brand be when the money comes back? And where will your business be when the money comes back? The reality is social media is here to stay. Are you? Are your products, are your services, are your interviews? And imagine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Imagine what that kind of momentum would do. Imagine the people, imagine the connections, imagine the client. We all know in business, you're one client away from a totally different breakthrough, right? A totally new experience. And what's the fastest way to growth hack, my friends? I believe in 2021, 2022, and beyond, that by far the #1 fastest way to grow your personal brand in a meaningful way, in a non-bullshit way, is to get on platforms that already have momentum, that already have direction, that are already in ascension, offering products and services and led by heroes, so that you don't have to start from zero. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to smash that like, subscribe button. Also comment below, let us know if you have any other questions. I'm so passionate about doing this stuff from everything I've learned, helping my clients. And also just answering questions from people like you totally free. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend. And last but not least, if you're watching this and you're like, man, that was pretty inspiring, Omar, like that was pretty interesting. I could see myself being interviewed on shows. I could see myself wanting to get on platforms. I could see myself wanting to be a pro and building my brand. Well, I have some exciting news, because in the description below right now, we have a short questionnaire where you can fill it out, answer any questions that we have for you, so that we can learn a little bit more about you, your business, your product, your service. And if you think you'd be a good fit to share your story with an audience of potential customers, raving fans that could help you grow your brand and business in a real way. As we all know, if you want to get a higher leverage return on your business, you've got to build some sort of brand. Think of the brands you're wearing right now as you watch this video. Look around. Look at it, right? Think of the phone you have in your hand, right? Think of the device you're watching this on. Chances are you bought it because there was a brand. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a leader, if you're an expert, give yourself that gift. And I truly recommend you building your brand, whether you do it with us or otherwise. So anyways, guys, that's it. Again, you can fill out the short questionnaire in the description below. If our team thinks you'd be a good fit, and we offer some cool things for you to go on your own podcast media tour to share your product, service, or business, we look forward to hopping on a call with you if you fill it full out. And we look forward to serving you there. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next inspiring video. Thank you so much for enjoying this video. And if you found this content valuable, uplifting, and inspiring to take your life and your business to the next level, then I have some exciting news for you. Because the Passionate Few Academy officially launched our brand new on-demand training that you can access absolutely free at www.tpfacademy.com. Right there, you'll learn the #1 way to grow your personal brand or business brand online fast. The same way I've learned from interviewing some of the most successful people on the planet right here on the show who've done exactly that. So again, don't forget to check it out, www.tpfacademy.com. I promise you'll be blown away. And also, don't forget, there's 3 ways you can connect with me further. #1, you can text me absolutely free at the number on the screen right now and send me your most pressing life, business, or branding question, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. #2, if you'd like to be interviewed on the show, you can actually apply right now in the description below and apply to share your incredible story, brand, or business right here with an audience of potentially millions of people, the same way we've helped experts, entrepreneurs, and authors just like you. And don't forget, that opportunity comes with the ability to partner with us and help feed 1 million people through our partnership with Feeding America. Again, you can click the link in the description below titled Interview Application to find out more. And last but not least, #3, if you'd like to get consulting from our team and work with you to help you grow your personal brand or business brand, no matter what industry you're in, we can do that by simply filling out the questionnaire in the description below titled Consulting Application. And if our team thinks that you'd be a great fit, who knows, you may just be invited to work with us to help you take your business to the next level. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for enjoying this video. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, turn on post notifications so you never miss an episode. And until next time, live strong, live with passion, and I'll see you in the next inspiring video.